Hi everyone and welcome. Father Lamb here. It's Wednesday, June 9th. I'd like to take a moment just to congratulate all of our graduates, no matter where you're graduating from. This is a wonderful time of year. And we'd like to honor our graduates from Queen of Mary Church. We had something on our church bulletin, on the webpage, and also on Facebook about anyone who's graduating from high school or college. Let us know where you're graduating from, what your plans are the following year, and we'd like to honor you at Mass. I think it's a 10:30 Mass on Father's Day, which is June 20th. So just get those forms in for us, and we'd love to just honor you at Mass for all you've done. This past week or so, I've had the opportunity to go to a few baccalaureates. Last Thursday, I was at Allentown Central Catholic's baccalaureate, and last night, our own kids here at Good Shepherd Catholic School, our 8th graders graduated and had a baccalaureate Mass. And I believe yesterday was also Becca High's baccalaureate Mass. And on Monday night, I was over at Colby Academy for their baccalaureate and graduation exercises. And as you might know, Colby Academy is the only Catholic school in the United States of America that caters toward high school kids who are struggling with addictions. And I got to tell you, there's only 2 kids that graduated, but it was a really powerful experience. Just seeing those kids there, these 2 young men who got all the requirements done and got a high school degree, just like in any other Catholic school in our diocese. They also did it while fighting an addiction and stayed sober. And that kind of foundation is really a beautiful thing. And I couldn't help but think, as I was looking out over these 2 young men and their families behind them in the chairs there in the auditorium, that with either one of them, we could have been at a funeral. Either one of these kids, through what they've been through, could have died, and we could have been in some very sad events. But the joy that was there and the emotion was just really beautiful. And so it's not just getting that degree, it's also staying sober. And one of the young men's, his extended family's from our parish, and he's a great kid. He's been sober now over a year, and that's an awesome thing. He happens to be a Giants fan, so that's not that great. We have to get the Eagles in there, but he's just a wonderful young man, and it's so great to see the hope that was there in that auditorium. And these 2 guys really have an opportunity to help people like nobody else can because of what they've been through. Because that's the way addiction works. Our God is a God for the addict. And why do I say that? Because Jesus said, I am not come, he said, those who are well don't need a doctor. Those who are sick do. I have come not for those who are well, for those who are sick. I have come for sinners. And I think it's important for us to realize that addicts are not like bad people trying to get good or evil people trying to get holy. Addicts are sick people trying to get well. It's like having diabetes or cancer or heart disease, And it's so important for us to reach out. And it was so awesome to see young kids like this be given a second chance in life. And I thought, if we can save one life, there's a ripple effect on the lives of many other people, just their families that are happy to see them alive and thriving. And that's why this school is so important. I want to thank everyone at Queen of Mary Church. You've been supporting the school for about 1.5 years now with that monthly envelope. We're very grateful to you. And I know John Petroselli who's the principal down there, just supporting that school. Just help a few of these kids get a jump in life. So today, tonight, I'd just like to congratulate all of our kids who have graduated, no matter where you graduated from. You don't get there by yourself. It takes a whole family and a lot of support, educators, friends, neighbors, teachers, coaches are just helping us along the way. It kind of reminds me of, you've ever heard of there's a lot of renditions of it, the turtle on the fence post. If you ever see a turtle on a fence post, it didn't get there by itself. It got some help. And the same is true of you and I. We don't get where we are in life by ourselves. It takes a whole lot of people to help us. And we live in a culture that idealizes like rugged individualism and do it on your own and all that. Nobody really does it on their own. We're dependent on a lot of other people. So we need not forget, the turtle on the fence post. That's important. I don't know if you know it or not, but how Alcoholics Anonymous got started, it really makes me think of you and I can learn something from this movement, whether we're addicts or not, of how spirituality works when you want to grow spiritually. What I mean to say is this. Bill Wilson was a New York Stock Exchange broker, and he and Dr. Bob Smith started Alcoholics Anonymous. But the story is pretty fascinating. Bill Wilson, of course, lived in New York, and he had his drinking problem, and he found himself trying to help other alcoholics, and he had them in his home for a while. In fact, one alcoholic died in his home. And after about 6 months of trying to help these men, he realized they're all still drinking. And he said to his wife, Lois, nobody's staying sober. And Lois said, no, you're wrong, Bill. You are. And then it occurred to Bill that when he had the urge to drink, if he would help another alcoholic, it helped him stay sober. And with that in mind, he then went to Akron, Ohio for a business deal. The deal fell through. So obviously he's disappointed. He goes back to the hotel. He hears the glasses like clinking in the bar, and he feels a pull to go into the bar and drink. And he knows, oh my gosh, here's a moment of truth. I need to talk to another alcoholic. So he gets to a payphone. He got a roll of nickels. That's how long ago it was, because there was only nickel for a call. And he started calling different churches and talking to pastors and priests if they had anyone in their congregation that had a drinking problem that he could talk to them. Well, as it turned out, he got tuned into a man named Dr. Bob Smith, a surgeon from Akron, Ohio, who had the problem. And he called there, and his wife really urged her husband, Dr. Bob, to speak with Bill. And he agreed to talk to him for a few minutes. Well, Bill went there and spent quite a few hours with him. But here's what happened that's so incredible. Bill didn't go in and say, Dr. Bob, you have a drinking problem. You got to stop this, and point the finger. No. Bill went in and he told his story. He said, when I drink like this. And when I drink, here's what happens. And right away, all the defenses around Dr. Bob went down. And he said, that's how I drink. When I drink, here's what I do. I always want more, and here's what happens, the trouble I get into. And that, my brothers and sisters, is considered the start of Alcoholics Anonymous. That was June 10, 1935. And since then, you know how the 12-step program has spread literally across the world. It's interesting to see that the first step of any recovery program is we. We admitted we were powerless over what your addiction is. Our lives have become unmanageable. A lot of lives in our world are unmanageable. But the first word is we, not I. All alcoholics and addicts, anybody who's addicted, needs the help of other people. But I think that dynamic is true for us to grow spiritually. We can only take ourselves so far spiritually. And then as we struggle spiritually, we need companions on the journey. We need spiritual friends, other people that help us, and to get together with them and not point out their faults and here's how you have to change, but say, here's what I'm struggling with in my spiritual life. And then the other person can share that with you. And that bond is what helps us get over our character defects or to deal with the sins in our lives and the temptations that we're all dealing with. So today, as we sort of congratulate all of our graduates and we thank their families and friends who have helped them get where they are today, maybe we can remind ourselves that all of us need to be thankful for the people that God has placed into our lives. I ask you to continue to pray for Colby Academy and for all addicts that they may stay sober. Let's pray for the families who are supporting them and struggling. Let's pray especially for all those addicts who have died. Our God, as I said, is a God for the addict. So I know God will welcome people like that into heaven. Addicts are people who need God's grace, and especially if you and I could pray for all those who have lost loved ones. That devastating loss never goes away. The God who welcomes us into heaven is the same God who comes to us in our grief to comfort us now, if we just allow him in. Let's thank God for the gift of each other, and let's remember the turtle on the fence post. We don't get where we are in life without the help of a lot of people. God bless you.